We are beginning today Torah Yud Zayin in the Likutei Moharan, and this Torah is called VaYehi Merikim. That's the pasuk in Bereshit that Rabbi Nachman begins this Torah with. VaYehi Merikim. So let's begin. VaYehi Merikim sakehem v'hine ish tzeror kaspo besako. And it happened as they began emptying their sacks. This is the brothers of Yosef. And they're emptying their sacks when they're returning from him. And behold, each one's bundle of money was found in his sack. Right? And when they saw, and their father, Yaakov, saw their bundles of money, they were afraid. They were frightened. Vayomer lahem Yaakov avihem oti shikaltem. Yaakov said to them, "Oh, you're making me lose my children." Why? Yosef einenu. Yosef is not here anymore. Ve Shimon einenu, and Shimon is no longer with us because he was taken captive by Yosef. Ve et Binyamin tikachu. And now you want to take Binyamin? Alai hayu kulana. All of these things are happening to me. Okay, so these are the psukim in Bereshit from pasuk Perek Mem Bet, from pasuk Lamed Hey to pasuk Lamed Hey and Lamed Vav. Okay, chapter 42 from verses 35 and 36. So says Rabbi Nachman. So now this is what Rabbi Nachman does. We see many times throughout the Torahs, he brings a pasuk, then he explains all of the bechinot, all of the idea of the Torah, and then we come back and we see how it's represented in this pasuk. Okay, so says Rabbi Nachman, Ki yir'a ve'ahava, I efshar likabel, ki im al yidei tzadikei ador, ki atzadik ador hu ha'megaleh ha'yir'a ve'ahava. Rabbi Nachman says that it's impossible to receive the aspects of fearing Hashem and loving Hashem, which are the foundation of all of Yiddishkeit, the foundation of all of Judaism, and the foundation of the particular way through which Torah teaches us to connect to Hashem, which is different from all the other religions. There are some religions. We said that there are 70 nations in the previous Torah, in Torah Tet Zayin. We said there are 70 nations. And the 70 nations of idol worshippers, of those that strayed from Hashem, the creator of the world, who gave us the Torah, and try to serve and they try to achieve their desires in this world in other ways, in ways different and from just connecting to Hashem and asking from Hashem. And so all of the idol worshippers of the world are split into two categories. And that's why the 72 nations are split into two categories, the category of Esav and the category of Yishmael. And so all of the nations of the world and all of the other religions and all of the other ways that people live their life are either Yira, they're either trying to connect to the source of all energy, the source of all good, or to specific energies, right? In idol worship, a person can serve a specific idol, or a person can serve the moon or the sun or certain stars or constellations or a certain statue, right? And so they're trying to receive energy from a certain entity, connect themselves to a certain entity. And so all of the religions are either where they take fear or they take love, but none of them combine both of them the way the Torah teaches us to, Yira and Ahava together. So either their religion is based on a relationship with God, as God being transcendent and beyond and impossible to connect to, and therefore they allow themselves to live a certain way in this physical world from day to day. And they don't believe that the actual God who created the whole universe is involved in every aspect of their life. And so because of that, maybe they will try to connect to a statue that's in front of them. because they don't believe that actually that every molecule and every cell and every atom and all of existence is in each moment being brought into existence by Hashem. Okay, so that's one category of avodah zarah. That's one category of idol worship. That's where they connect to the yira, the fear aspect, where God is separate and transcendent and beyond and so great, but they don't really connect on to the fact that Hashem is immanent, that Hashem is present. And then there are many religions where they connect to the ahava, where God is in everything and everything is God, and therefore every aspect, everything in the existence is full of only God. There is nothing but God, but because of that, they do so without connecting to the fear and awe of what God is, and recognizing that as much as God is actually with us, God is also absolutely transcendent and absolutely infinite and limitless, and it's impossible to even grasp in the tiniest way the essence of God. As much as God is infinitely present, Hashem is also infinitely transcendent. And those are the religions that will they will maybe believe that everything is God, but because of that everything goes, because they're also God. And so there are so many different ways that these mistakes of taking either the fear or the love by itself, the mistakes that come out of that can be manifested in so many different ways. And that's why you have at least 35 different categories for each one of these two mistakes. Okay, 35 on the right side and 35 on the left side, at least. There are many subcategories in those 35 as well. But there's so many mistakes that a person can fall to. And the Torah teaches us to combine the fear of Hashem and the love of Hashem in one attitude, in one way of serving Hashem. And the Zohar teaches us that all of Torah and mitzvot are lifted up to Shamayim through the energies of fear and love, through the experiencing of fearing and loving Hashem, through the experience that comes from recognizing that Hashem is, as much as Hashem is infinitely transcendent, Hashem is infinitely immanent and present, and as much as Hashem is infinitely immanent and present, right here, right now, He's also infinitely transcendent. And so combining that in your contemplation of Hashem, to a point where you feel the fear and the love of Hashem as one in your heart, that's the energy that lifts up everything that you are doing. What does it mean? It lifts it up. It means that it causes that whatever mitzvah that you do in service of Hashem, any time that you follow Hashem's Torah and Hashem's mitzvot, you're able to affect change universally. And so not only in the physical universe, in this physical world, but in all of the spiritual worlds as well. That's the effect of the Yira and Ahava. And so the Yira and Ahava, the fear and the loving of Hashem, is only possible for a person to actually receive these energies and these attitudes, knowing how to actually serve Hashem with a proper combination of fearing and loving Hashem, to properly experience fearing Hashem. What does it mean to really fear Hashem? And what does it mean to really love Hashem? Because I'm adding now another layer to what I said before. What I said before was that the Torah teaches us how to combine the fear and the love of Hashem together, but there's more than that, because in order to truly feel fear of Hashem, it must be combined with love. And in order to truly feel and experience the love of Hashem, it must be combined with fear. And so, yes, I said that all the other 70 nations, the idol worshippers, they take maybe one without the other. They take either fear without love or love without fear. God is transcendent but not present. God is present but not transcendent. But to truly feel the fear, even if, let's say, they take the fear aspect, God is transcendent but not present, they cannot really feel the fear of God without really also experiencing the love of Hashem, the fact that Hashem is immanent. Just to that's a very deep point, what I just said right now, so I'm just going to illustrate it, explain it a little bit more. For example, if someone believes that God is transcendent, that Hashem is infinitely transcendent beyond the universe, beyond time and space, but he does, so that's something that should really cause you to feel awe of the greatness of Hashem. but only to the extent that you also believe that Hashem is present. Because if Hashem is infinitely transcendent, and he's beyond the time and space, and he's beyond the universe, but he's only out there because he's so far out and he's so transcendent, that doesn't affect me in any way. For me to actually feel awe of Hashem, which is the Yira aspect, I must also recognize that this transcendent, infinite one, the limitless, who's beyond time and space, beyond the universe, who created everything, is actually present right here. And me being in his presence, and this presence causes me to feel, that recognition causes me to feel the fear. It goes the other way as well. In order to actually love Hashem, if you only believe that Hashem is present, infinitely present, and everything is God, right? Everything is God, like they're recognizing now through quantum physics. Quantum physics is kind of like a metaphor. They think that it actually is, right? They call it the God particle, where you go to the basic, the tiniest point of what makes up all of matter, and it's all energy, and so they think it's the God particle, and they think that that's what God is. But we know that Hashem is beyond that as well, right? If you can actually perceive it with your eyes, then it's not Hashem. If you can perceive it with any of our physical senses, then it's not Hashem. Okay, to perceive it, perceiving Hashem is something that is beyond our physical senses, and even beyond our physical senses, even with our soul, we don't actually perceive the essence of Hashem. We only perceive some sort of radiation of love that is being sent to us from Hashem, an emanation of Hashem's love, or Hashem's light, of Hashem's life energy. Okay, that's what we can experience. But the essence of Hashem, no one can ever experience, even the greatest angel, even the greatest soul, even the greatest neshama. So when they say the God particle and all that, it's only a metaphor, right? To look at matter and break matter down to the tiniest particle, and you figure out that it's all made out of energy. That's a metaphor to show you that on a deeper level, that the true essence of what all of existence is only really the spiritual aspect that is bringing everything into existence in every moment. Okay, but that being said, so from that recognition, and that kind of like confirms what a lot of the religions, the spiritual, the New Age also, a lot of the spiritual Eastern religions, they speak about how everything is God and everything is full with God's presence and all that. Now that is something that that's the aspect, that's the contemplation that brings a person to feel love for Hashem, recognizing how close Hashem is to you, but only to the extent that you also recognize at the same time that this God that is filling all of existence, and that all of existence is saturated with his presence, and there is no existence but this God, that is not going to make you, that contemplation, that recognition is not going to make you really love him unless you recognize how great this presence is. This presence of Hashem, this light that fills all of existence, only to the extent that you recognize that this presence is so infinitely awesome, is so wonderful, is beyond time and space, created all of the universe and all of the dimensions, and gives us life constantly, and blesses us with all of this abundance and all these blessings constantly, only to the extent that I recognize how great and how transcendent, how infinite and how limitless, and that limitless, that unlimited, infinite being comes and involves itself with me, with my existence, and every detail of my existence. That's tremendous love. That brings me to tremendous love. And so you need to combine the two in order to really feel fear and in order to really feel love. There must be a combination between these two. And so it's only the tzaddik, says Rabbi Nachman, only the tzaddik is really, the only way that we can really merit to experience these two states, these two attitudes, these two energies, these two recognitions, these two states of consciousness. That's what they are. Yirat Hashem and Abat Hashem are two states of consciousness, and they're combined in one to create Dat. That's what Dat, knowing Hashem, is all about. Connecting to Hashem. Dat is also a word that means connection. Connecting to Hashem, cleaving to Hashem, being included in Hashem's light. All of these words describe the aspect of Dat, which is made up of Yira and Ahava. And to receive that, to experience that, to merit this, is only through the tzaddik. You can only receive that from the tzaddik. Because it's the tzaddik that reveals the fear and the love. כי הצדיק מבקש ומחפש תמיד לגלות הרצונות. Now you're going to explain to us the process on how the tzaddik reveals this fear and love of Hashem. So says Rabbi Nachman, כי הצדיק מבקש ומחפש תמיד לגלות הרצונות של השם יתברך. הן בכלל הבריאה, דהיינו מה שהשם יתברך רצה לברוא את העולם בכלל, וכן בפרטי הבריאה, בכל דבר ודבר, בפרט יש רצון השם יתברך, דהיינו שהשם יתברך רצה שזה הדבר יהיה כך, בתמונה הזאת, בכוח הזה ובטבע הזאת, ודבר אחר, יש לו תמונה אחרת, בכוח אחר, בטבע, בהנהגה אחרת. So the tzaddik is constantly seeking to reveal the intention that Hashem had in creating everything in the universe. Okay, that's what the tzaddik is constantly doing. The tzaddik's purpose is to constantly reveal what's the will, the desire that Hashem had, the intention, why Hashem created every detail in all of the universe, in the physical universe and in the spiritual universe. Rabbi Nachman says not only in general, he is constantly seeking to reveal the intention and the desire that Hashem had in creating the whole universe in general, right? Everything in it. There's a main purpose that Hashem had, a main intention and a main desire, a main ratzon that Hashem had in creating everything in general. And then there is a specific, right? There's a specific will that Hashem had, a specific intention and desire and purpose that Hashem had for every specific part of the universe, physically and spiritually, and for every detail in that specific part. Okay, so if you look at a lion, or if you look at a car, if you look at a house, or a brick, or a stone, so you can speak about the specific intention and purpose that Hashem had for creating all the cars that are in the world. And then there's a reason why Hashem created this specific car. And then there's a specific reason why Hashem created this part of this car. And why does this part of the car look like this? And that part of the car look like that? And why does it combine with all the other parts in this way? And a lion, okay, Hashem created all the lines in the world for some purpose, but then this specific line in front of us, why did Hashem create it in this way? Why does the head look like this and the legs look like that? And why does the fur look like this? And why does this specific lion have one eye that looks like that and one eye that looks like that? And why is the shape or the size of it this way or not that way? Every part of the universe in general has a reason, a general reason, a purpose, an intention, a desire that Hashem had in creating the whole universe. And then every part of the universe, physically and spiritually, has an intention that Hashem, a desire, a purpose, why Hashem created this part of the universe specifically in this way. And then every part of that part, and every part of that part. So, be'ofen klali, in general, or be'ofen prati, and specifically, ubeofen prati prati, and the specifics of every specific detail is all has a specific desire, purpose, intention, reason why Hashem created it this way and not in any other way. And the tzaddik seeks to reveal all of these levels of Hashem's ratzon, of Hashem's will, and this is the way that Rabbi Nachman is explaining this, illustrating this idea. This hasaga, this deep understanding, is very similar to what we know about the sfirot. We know that all of existence, the whole universe, is made up of 10 sfirot in general, okay? And we know that each one of those 10 sfirot are also made up of 10 sfirot, and each one of those 10 sfirot is made up of 10 sfirot, and each one of those 10 sfirot is made up of 10 sfirot, and each one of those forever and ever and ever, to even the tiniest atom, and in the atom there's another 10 sfirot, and then in each one of those another 10 sfirot. So every particle of the whole universe has a specific purpose and a specific will and a desire why Hashem created it, and why Hashem created it in this way, and what is the purpose that it is serving in that grand plan. And this is part of all of this fits into one of the big lessons that the Baal Shem Tov taught, one of the big chidushim that the Baal Shem Tov taught, one of the big insights of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov taught that this is part of our contemplation that will bring us to believe and trust and experience what it means Hashgacha Pratit. divine providence, that Hashem is involved in every detail of the universe, in every detail of creation, in every detail of our experience, in every detail of everything that's happening in the whole universe. And the Baal Shem Tov taught that even there is somewhere in the world one blade of grass that is hidden, one little plant or a little leaf or whatever, a little weed or whatnot, that is hidden in the darkest cave, in the deepest cave, in a place where no man has ever walked in all of history. And that blade of grass or that little plant, there's a wind that blows it, okay? And it blows it maybe 100,000 times every day in different direction. There's a wind that comes from one of the cracks in the cave and it blows it a little bit to the east, a little bit to the west, a little bit to the north, a little bit to the south. It turns it in this way, turns it in that way. Maybe 100 different times every day. Okay, and that little plant has been existing there, let's say, I don't know, a couple thousand years. It's a certain type of plant. Baal Shem Tov says that plant, its existence, its entire existence, and every movement that plant has made, every one of those millions of movements by now that plant has made in that dark place, in that dark cave that has nothing to do with anyone. It seems like it has nothing to do with any part of the world. No animal has gone there, no man has gone there. It's blocked off from all of everything else. Every one of those movements, those millions of movements, and the existence of that blade of grass or that little plant has a special purpose, and that purpose is part of the grand plan of the grand purpose. It's integrated and it complements and it completes the grand plan, the grand purpose that Hashem had for creating and for creating the whole world and the whole universe. And so that's what it means, Hashgacha Pratit. This is what we're speaking about here. The ratzon, the purpose that Hashem has, the desire that Hashem has, the intention that Hashem had and that Hashem has in creating everything in general, and specifically of every detail and everything that goes through everything, every experience in every moment. Why in this way specifically? And it's all complementing that grand purpose, because the specific is always complementing the general, and that general is complementing the greater general until the greatest, most klali intention that Hashem had for all that Hashem has for all of existence. Okay. So that's what we said here, that Hashem has a specific desire and a specific purpose. Why Hashem creates everything, why Hashem created everything, and why in this way. What does it look? Why does it look like this particularly? Why in this form? Why in this strength? Why does it have this power? Why does it have this energy? Why does it do this? Why does it have this function? Why does it have this nature? Are all these differences in every detail, even in yourself from day to day and from moment to moment. Every one of these specifics has a reason and has a purpose. והצדיק מחפש ומבקש תמיד אחר אלו הרצונות, להשיג ולידע רצון השם יתברך בכל דבר. And the tzaddik is constantly seeking, he's searching and seeking to reveal this ratzon, this will of Hashem, to comprehend and to understand and to know Hashem's purpose. For example, why did Hashem have the reason or the desire to create the lion with this specific energy, or this specific strength? That it should look in this way specifically. It walks in this way and has this nature and it roars in a certain way. Why is that? And on the other hand, you have a worm, a tiny worm that is weak and small and tiny, and it looks completely different. Why did Hashem create the worm? And why did Hashem create the worm to look in that way, so different from the lion? וכן בפרטי פרטיות, כגון באריה בעצמו, במנה מה זה העבר של האריה צורתו כך, ויש לו כוח וטבע כזאת, ועבר אחר יש לו צורה אחרת, וכוח וטבע והנהגה אחרת. And then, more specifically, in the details of each particular thing, why in the lion itself did Hashem create that the lion's specific strength and nature in this limb, and different from that limb, and this part of the lion's body, different from that part of the lion's body, right? And this type of strength and nature, and that type of strength and nature. וכן בשאר כל הבירואים שבעולם דומם, צומח, חי, מדבר, שבכולם יש שינויים רבים ואין מספר בין כל אחד לחברו, וכן בכל אחד ואחד בעצמו יש בו שינויים רבים בפרטי פרטיות בין כל עבר ועבר. And then all the differences in the details of every part of the four elements of the four categories of the universe, the four categories of existence, the inanimate objects, all of the inanimate objects, right? There are millions and billions of them, all the rocks and all the stones and all the things that don't move in the whole world, the pieces of metal and everything, and the mountains, and why, and the earth, plant life, all the differences, the differences between them, the details, the specifics, all of the animal life, and all the, the animal life includes also the birds and the birds and the fish and the insects and all that, all the differences between them. In general, all the bees, and then in each one of them, each bee from another one, and then in each bee itself, why do the wings of this bee look like that, and why do the antennas look like that, and the eyes look like that, and have a specific energy and a specific force and a specific function and a specific nature, okay? And then also in the people, and and so on and so forth. Every person has also, between one limb to the other, one part of the body to the other, one cell, the differences between each cell and all the other cells, and also from moment to moment, the changes that are happening. And all of those changes and all of those details have a specific reason. בעשבים ואילנות ושאר פרטי הבריאה שבכולם יש שינויים רבים מאוד בתמונותיהם ובכוחותיהם והנהגותיהם, and all the different chemicals, all the different elements throughout the whole world, and all the plants and all the trees, and all the details in every other part of existence. And why do certain plants have specific powers and specific healing abilities different than others? And why, if that same plant that has a certain healing ability, if it's grown in a different place of the world, and why if you eat it in one way it helps, and you eat it another way, ingest it another way, it doesn't help. All of these different details, which are, we're getting to billions and trillions and billions of trillions of billions of trillions of details and specifics that fill up the whole universe. There's a general purpose for all of that, and there's a specific purpose, and there's a specific within that specific purpose, and in each moment there's a specific reason. And all the more specific you get, the more detailed you get, that tiniest detail is always complementing the larger reason, and the greater reason, the greater category, all the way back to the main category, the main reason why Hashem has for all of existence. And so now he's going to explain to us, now that we're on the edge of our seats to understand what is this purpose. Now Rabbi Nachman explains ומוצא אותם על ידי ההתפארות שמוצא בישראל בכלל ובפרט ובפרטי פרטיות. And all of this was for the specific reason, or the reason that Hashem had, the purpose that Hashem had in creating all of existence. And the tzaddik seeks and searches to find all of these reasons, and he understands them. How? By coming to understand and recognize the pride that he finds in Am Yisrael. When he finds the pride that Hashem has in and in every individual of Am Yisrael, and in every moment of every individual's life of Am Yisrael, and every detail of the life and the existence of every individual through Am Yisrael, that shines light to the tzaddik, gives him the perspective, gives him the knowledge, gives him the knowledge he is seeking, it gives him the understanding to the specific purposes that Hashem has for every detail in creation. Why? What does one have to do with the other? Because the whole universe, the whole world, everything contained in the universe, physically, spiritually, is all created for Am Yisrael, for the Jewish people. Like the famous Medrash brought in the Zohar, brought in the Gemara, brought in the Medrash, Bereshit, the first word in the Torah, Bereshit, in the beginning. The drasha is, the explanation is, Bishvil Yisrael shenikra Reshit. For the sake of Am Yisrael, for the nation of Israel, for the Jewish people who is called that caused all of this to happen. Why Hashem created all of this and all of the many billions of stages that the universe had until it manifests into this physical existence, this physical reality, is all for the purpose, is all for the sake, it's all for the purpose of the Jewish people. Because the Jewish people were we were in Hashem's first thought. And that's what the והשעשועים שיקבל מישראל, כמו שכתוב ישראל אשר בך יתפאר, ובשביל זה ברא את כל העולם. So what does that mean that Hashem created all of this for the purpose? His purpose, his initial intention was all for the Jewish people. So Rabbi Nachman explains that Hashem anticipated the pride and the joy that he would receive from Am Yisrael, from the Jewish people. And for that, when he anticipated, because Hashem is beyond time and space, and so we can't understand it from our perspective within time and space limitations, but Hashem is beyond time and space, and Hashem could see into the future, even though that future is only dependent on him creating the universe and creating the Jewish people. But how does that work? Again, us in our limited perspective and our limitations of the time and space dimension we're living in, it's hard for us to understand. But Hashem, that is beyond time and space, anticipated, looked ahead and saw the pride and the joy that he would receive from the Jewish people, and that what he saw, that intention, that initial intention is what caused, so to speak, the desire, awakened the desire by Hashem to create living in this physical reality, fulfilling the Torah and the mitzvot of Hashem. And so when Hashem anticipated the pride and the joy that he would receive from the Jewish people, as it says in the pasuk, Yisrael asher becha itpa'ar, the pasuk in Yeshaya that says, Yisrael, that I take pride in you. Okay, so Yisrael is to Hashem, are the people, they are the object of Hashem's pride. Okay, they are the center of Hashem's joy and Hashem's pride. That happiness that Hashem experiences from the Jewish people, for that he created the entire world and everything that's in it. And so we'll see the continuation of this Bezrat Hashem in tomorrow's shir.